Welcome to the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. I am your host, Natalie Salas, an international real estate expert. Join me as we explore the thrilling world of global real estate. We'll uncover diverse international markets, backed by solid data and engaging insights. Each episode features expert guests from the hottest markets, providing you with the knowledge to invest wisely and successfully. Whether you are a local realtor aiming to go global or an investor curious about international opportunities, this is the podcast for you. Get ready to transform your approach and achieve global real estate success to become a real estate investment nomad. Hi, everybody. This is Natalie with the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. Today we have a very special guest, one of the big influencers from Michigan, but she's going to tell more about her story. And we're going to talk about how can you have agents all around the world with agent attraction and systems. Thank you for being with us. Gogo.
Thank you so much for having me. We just shared the a stage. Yes. I don't speak English today. We just shared a stage together. We talked about social media marketing, building your brand, building your businesses through your brand. So that was amazing. Nice to so.
No, thanks for, I've learned so many things from you. I like the way you post organically to help other agents around the world understand some tools, shortcuts, and how you can do things faster. Because sometimes we take the long road, and then we're like, there's an easier, faster way. And now with AI, there's so much more we can do per day.
I think you told me yesterday, right? She's like, when I followed you, I took your shortcut tech.
Yes.
So if you have an iPhone, guys, or actually if you have a Droid too, you can do it. I just don't know how to do it on a Droid because I've never had one.
Yeah.
I'm an iPhone person, but I literally have these little shortcut letters on my phone. So if somebody says, hey, Gogo, I want to partner with you at EXP, I just hit PP and it automatically sends the link. And somebody says, hey, Gogo, who you got in Sarasota? I do and that sends the map. So if you guys want a quick little cheat sheet, just create, I think they're called key text replacement. So on an iPhone, it's called a text replacement. You create your two little letters and speed up your success. If you're sending the links and constantly sending things to things, so that was a huge time saver for me.
Yeah, because I think some of the agents, they're like, oh, where's my Instagram? They have to go to Instagram, open it, find the link, and then that takes time. And right now we're talking about everything saving time. You're a busy mom, also a big entrepreneur with many businesses. How do you do it? What's your favorite time hack that you're like, you need to at least do this every single day to save 2 hours per week?
Oh gosh, I think what I call time hack is being very cautious of what you do and when you do it. So then you're not constantly, because I don't know about you, but I always have a million great ideas. And it's like I always joking say it's like a computer screen open with a freaking ping pong ball. Just go bang, 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 bang. Like all of the million tabs that I have open in my head. So in the past, I used to be proud about doing whatever I feel like doing, whenever I feel like doing it, right? And then it's fun because you do have freedom, but the downside to that nothing ever really gets done because it's not structured, right? You're constantly ping-ponging between those ideas. So now my biggest time hack so is that I'm super scheduled. Okay, I do the same things over and over again. I only work Monday to Wednesday. So I don't work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I took long weekends for the rest of my life. And I love it that way. But Monday to Wednesday, I'm scheduled out of my ever-loving mind to February of 2029. So for example, I do a podcast every Tuesday at 11. So if you ask me, what are you doing Tuesday at 11? Can we have a meeting? No, we can't. I'm doing a podcast, right? So I fought this idea for the longest time because I thought I'm losing my freedom by being so scheduled, right? But no, you're actually gaining your time freedom back because when Wednesday 5 o'clock hits, I am done until Monday of next week, right? And then everything was done. So we've been in Europe now for a month, the whole month of June. We've been in Italy, and then now we are in Spain. This is from Barcelona, guys.
Yes.
And then now we are going to Romania and all of that. So the way I can do that is because I pre-scheduled everything. So I knew I want to take the summer off. So I pre-shot all of my podcasts. I pre-shot all of the episodes for the Gogo community. I pre-shot all of my websites are updated. So for example, my agent attraction, which is how I make most of my money, right? In the past, the way the system was set up is I guide people to that link. They watch the videos. They schedule a call. They jump into my calendar. Well, I'm not doing a single Zoom call. I'm not doing anything that is so set work related this summer. Then I have to be in front of the computer. So I updated my website. So instead of be like, hey, let's schedule a Zoom call, it says, hey, I'm in Europe. I can't do Zoom, time difference and hotel Wi-Fi. So please just DM me on Instagram, and then I included my Instagram. So you can pre-plan these things if you're very strict with your calendar and very organized. You can pre-plan your life of exactly how you want to live it. But I fought that idea for the longest time.
Yes, because when you're an entrepreneur, especially in the real estate space, you're like, oh, I have it's my time, my freedom. I'm going to this field because I want to manage my own schedule. And then you find yourself
Working 9 days a week. Yeah,
literally. So that you have translated that to building like your downline teams and being around the world. Not only yourself, but it was just your family. Let's call it Gogo, the Gogo family.
Yeah, Team Gogo,
right?
Yeah.
And within EXP, there are many families, but each family operates differently, and efficiency-wise, they're different as well. Different goals. What was your goal initially, and did you foresee this growth that you had so far into the creating a family, that I call it, that produces, for you don't have to really work the summer, for example. I don't think many realtors can have the luxury to say that, and you have achieved it.
Yeah. So that's a great question if I foreseen it. I don't think I did not see the magnitude or the ability, right? But I just knew that I can't be the only one. Right. So I've been a solo agent, even though I don't consider myself a team leader, even though I am a team leader. It's just, I don't know.
You're an organization leader.
I'm a solo top producing agent. And so what I noticed, I was with Real Estate for 7.5 years, Keller Williams for 1 year, and then I switched to EXP. And what I noticed is that it's very cutthroat, and it's very like, hey, it's my pie, and everybody's guiding their slice of pie, and everything I had to figure out on my own, and everything took time. And I would go into ask a top producer questions like, oh, this never happened to me. And I just didn't like the way the industry was working. And I was like, I can't be the only one who's craving a community, who's craving true collaboration, who's craving like, just show me what you've done, so then I don't have to spend the next 2 years of my life, right, trying to achieve the same thing. If you already know how to do it, just show me, right? There's plenty for all of us to go around. So when I came over to EXP, my goal was to share as much as I can possibly share with what I know, and then also to bring in experts to our organization so we can learn from others. Because I believe the biggest time hack, since you're asking that, is to buy speed. And what I mean by buying speed is by learning, like buying courses, going to masterminds, learning from the people on stages, right? Like paying for the knowledge that took them 20, 30 years to become an expert in something, and learns the do's and don'ts in 10 minutes, right? That's buying time.
Yeah.
So I'm huge on knowledge. We do a lot of training in the Team Gogo organization. All of our trainings are recorded because, I want everybody out there hustling. So if you're closing on a house or you have a showing or whatever, you can come to our Wednesday 1 o'clock training. I understand. Watch it whenever you want to later. So everything we do is recorded. It is private, so only the Team Gogo organization agents get access to that. We have our private YouTube channel. We have tech support. We have an onboarding department. Like, I just want to make the agent's life as easy as possible, because to me, the goal is to make as much money as you possibly can in the least amount of time. So then you can spend that time with your loved ones. So then you can go to Europe for the summer. So you can, pay for the college for your children. You can have that savings account that you sleep good at night knowing, car breaks, I'll just buy a new one. Right. So that was always my goal, is to have that individual agent, because every time we went to these big masterminds with the other brokerages, it was always the team leads. It was always the big teams on the stages. And I'm like, but that's not the biggest production. If you put together the highest production, the individual agents put together have a way higher production number than the teams do. But because teams locally make the most amount of money, right? I felt like the individual agent was forgotten. And so my agent avatar, my ideal agent, so that is that individual rock star. That doesn't mean they don't want to build a local team, or they don't want to build a downline, or they don't want to have VAs to make their life easier, but they consider themselves that like solid agent that built a business around their own brand. So that's my ideal avatar, and those are the type of trainings that I try to do to make sure everybody can have the life that they want without having to figure it out on their own.
That's amazing, because it's very specific. It's not like, oh, anybody who has a post has a license, right? It's very specific to who you want. And I think that you learn that over time, because at the beginning, it's like you get excited and everything that shines is like, oh, yeah, everybody come. And then they kind of drain your energy if they're not like the people you want to connect with, or it's in the same vibe and, like the speed that you were talking about.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to build this like empire, I would call it? Because many people are like, maybe I have to work for 30 years and I don't have that time. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. How long was there from the beginning that you let's say, join EXP, that I think that's when you decided I'm going this path and I'm going to go really fast. Until now, how long has it been?
So I joined EXP October of 2018. So my anniversary date is November 1st of 18. I did come to EXP with the idea that I'm going to Agent Attract. Right. So I was already a top producing agent. I know how to sell a house. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, but I just couldn't imagine. I remember one of my coaches asking me, what's your exit strategy? And I was like, I'm 29 years old. What do you mean? Right. I was so young in the industry. And I was thinking, what do you mean? But then at the same time, it put that bug in my head.
Mm-hmm.
What is my exit strategy? Like, am I going to be 67 and sitting in open house? Like,
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Right. Like, how many realtors have you seen that they had a retirement party? Nobody. They would just die. Right. So I was like, I can't be that agent. I can't be that agent that works a lifetime, nothing to show for it. I can't be that agent that, works a lifetime, maybe a top producer, but has a ton of credit card debt, no investments. Like, just the previous brokerages does not teach you how to build wealth. They just teach you how to cold call, how to door knock, how to fill in your paperwork. It was like, it was so barbaric, so old fashioned. I'm like, I needed to get, needed to get out of there. And so here, I just love that we get to do it all. And you get to do it your way. You know what I mean? So if you want to build a downline organization, do it. If you don't, do it. If you want to do mostly production or build a local team, do it. If you want to remove yourself from production like I did, do it. So we have freedom of creating the life that we all want.
So it's been 7 years in the making. And how many agents do you have now that you can be like, more free financially? Because we all want financial freedom.
What does it look like?
We don't know how to get there. Yeah, like how does, by what point you're like, I reach a point that now everything's growing on its own, kind of, but it takes a while to get there. It's like the first 2-3 years is
definitely hard work. I don't want you to think like you're just going to come in, even if you want to do agent attraction and you're just going to bring a bunch of agents. Maybe you do. Kudos to you if you can't. It is hard work and it's a different type of selling. Right. So if you think about, yes, I had my social media following, but I was usually talking to buyers and sellers and renters, vacant land hunters, those type of things, new construction. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, now I have a new target audience. And I'm talking about real estate and how to be a top producing agent and, those type of things. So you have to change your mindset. You have to learn the product, right? Because in order to sell EXP, you have to know, I don't want to say everything about EXP because nobody knows everything about it. I don't think Glenn knows everything about EXP, right? Because we are so huge and there's so much that this company has to offer, but you do have to get really good at being able to explain the model, being able to explain what is it like if you bring over a brokerage, what is it like if you have a team, if you want to build a team, if you're a sole agent, if you're a brand new agent, what type of where does the leads come from? Do we have a website? What's a CRM program like? Just all of the details. And I feel like you just kind of jump into the deep water and start selling. And eventually they're like, oh, I never had this question. And then I was keep going back to my upline, asking those questions. So I went crazy with agent attraction from the get-go. My understanding, it's not official, but my understanding is that I was the first woman in the company that got to 40 in less than 6 months. Okay. So I just went crazy. I would just talk to anybody. I'd like to joke and say I talked to anybody. They had a pulse and a real estate license, right? And I'm proud of that. Today, the Team Gogo organization is almost 1,400 agents. And Dwayne also has my husband also has his downline and organization. So between the two of us, in 2024, that was almost $1 million in revenue share. So like a couple $1,000 short of $1 million. That's almost so. Thank you. So it is very good money that you can make, but it is a lot of hard work, right? So it's not just attracting the agents because that's like, I don't want to even say that's the first half. Yeah. I feel like the actual work is afterwards. I feel like that's like 10%. Yeah. 90% the work comes after. Because now you have 1,400 business partners. Now you have to jump on Zoom calls. Now you have to have an interest in their business. Now you have to help them. Right now, you have to give them the time of the day. You have to give them the training. You have to provide the things that you promised why they partnered with you in the first place. And then anything that you do for an extended period of time, it will get old, right? And there will be times when you feel like giving up because you're like, I've done it. I'm burnt out. It's time for a break, right? You can't do that. At least I can do that because I'm very big on my word. And if I promised you something, and if I said this is what you're going to get when you partner with me, then that's what you're going to get. Like I will die overworked because I will never ruin my own reputation, right? So in order for me to, for example, take this summer off, right, I had to make sure we have all of the trainings lined up with all of the speakers who I want to come in to train the Team Gogo organization. I had to make sure my team is available to have them, all the onboarding, all the tech support, like everything that we do. The chats are up to date and all of that stuff. So it's still, everything that you do is a lot of work. I don't want you to think that you're just going to come in, agent a chart, and start collecting revenue share. At least I don't think that's the right way of doing it. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can and fall off the face of the earth and everybody lose your number. I just don't think it's the right way of doing it. So I think the reason why the Team Gogo organization is so strong and we stick together, and we did, as you said, almost $3 billion in transactions in 2024, is because of our trainings, is because we mastermind, we go to events, we stick together, we reserve seats for each other, we have our own chats every time we go to an event. They have a Team Gogo Barcelona for everybody who's here. So we really tried to build an organization and a community, right, where people can find each other and really have friends and we refer to each other. I think one of the reasons why we had such a big amount of transactions, I don't have a way of proving it because everybody just refers to each other. Right. Directly, I'm not in the middle, but I built the infrastructure. So we built a Team Gogo map. So now every agent that's in my organization, anywhere 7 generations down, as soon as they join, their name, email address, phone number is on the map. So let's say if you were, but the world is, it's not in Team Gogo, but if you were, and let's say you had a referral in Sarasota, right? You just go to the team map and it's like, oh, it's Ashley Nejard. Yeah. And then you just kind of, you guys deal directly, but we keep all of the referrals. So we call ourselves the Team Gogo International Family of Agents, right? Because we consider ourselves a family. And they always say, feed your family first. Exactly. Right. So if we have a referral, we're going to say if there's another Team Gogo agent in that area, and we would do the referrals to them because then you're expecting that in return, right? When there's a referral in Mexico and there's another Team Gogo agent doing the referral, you're like, hello, I'm Team Gogo. Yeah. Right. So we really focus on having a culture and keeping that culture where everybody feels at home, everybody feels supported, everybody feels the love and gets the leads and gets the training. And when we go to events to share rooms, to reduce the cost, those type of things. So to me, it's really about the community and it is a lot of hard work, but it pays very well. Chef?
Yeah, especially because you can take time off. And many people think about the money, but it's also the time freedom that all these systems in place need to be put together. And somebody has to be the mastermind of it all to connect all the pieces together. What was the program?
I want to do something because legally I have to. There's an EXP income disclaimer that I want you guys to go all read. It pretty much says that I don't know who you are. I don't know your work ethic. I don't know if you're going to do what I did to have what I have. And because of that, I cannot guarantee that you're going to have the same outcome. I can only tell you what I've done to have what I have today. And then you can decide what to do with that information. But it's the EXP income disclaimer that I want you guys to be. This is my little legal small print on here. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes we see the results, but we don't know how much we're spending ads, how much we spend with events, and nobody sees that. Nobody kind of sees the effort; they only see the outcome.
Yeah.
And sometimes you mention, people tell you that you're an overnight success, but they don't know how.
A lot of overnights, thousands of them.
So, what would you say to some people that you cannot compare somebody's runway if you've been at it for 10 years that somebody just started with 2 and they're trying to match you at 10 years? You still have to do some time to understand what you like, what you don't like, what systems work, they don't work.
Yeah.
How do you feel that what it takes, not only, because you have a strong personality and you like to get shit done.
Oh yeah. I'll do those to anything, but
it's just, what would be your secret or something that you think it made you successful in the business that you have right now?
I want to say I stay in my lane. So I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, right? And I'm huge on, you never work a day in your life if you love what you do, right? And so I don't do things that I don't love. I don't do things that doesn't come natural. I don't do things that it's hard for me to learn, right? So for that, it doesn't mean it doesn't need to get done, but I hire assistants who are naturally good at that. And then they do those steps for me. So I learned to leverage early on. I would say that's probably number one. I also know my hourly rate. I would say that's I would make leveraging number 2 because hourly rate is number 1. So knowing what you're worth in the hour when you do what you do, what makes you the most amount of money, and staying in your lane. Meaning, so whatever money made last year, take that money and divide it by 2,080. All the money, not after taxes and expenses, all the money that came in, divided by 2,080. If you work healthy 40 hours, you work 2,080 hours a year. When you look at the number, and let's say it says $170 an hour or $2,400 an hour, whatever that $20 an hour, whatever that hourly rate is, that's what you are worth when you do the thing that makes you the most amount of money, right? And so now that you know your hourly rate, I want you to think about what did I do to make that money, what actually made me the money? And I want you to stay in your lane. What I mean is, like, I tell Dwayne all the time, sometimes they're like, oh, can you call the, last time he was an appraiser that he wanted me to call on one of our properties. And I'm like, that's not my job. So the way we do, because I retired my husband, the way we do our work stuff is that I make the money, he spends the money. So what I mean by that is that the money that we make needs to be invested, right? So that he buys the real estate investments, and he deals with the renters, he deals with the management company, the taxes, the escrow, the down payment, all of that stuff. That's like the mortgage application. That's his job. I make the money, he spends it, right? And so if something, for example, this cost segregation appraiser, then he's like, can you call them and talk to him super quick? And I was like, it's not my job. And it might sound harsh for a minute, but if I spend half an hour to an hour with the appraiser about one of our properties that has to do with cost, then I just lost that hour from making money, right? And so, but we need to make the money to pay for these properties, right? So I have to stay in my lane and he has to stay in his lane. So if you get really good at figuring out what you're worth in the hour and what you need to do in that hour that makes you the most amount of money, and you can stay in your lane, and then leverage everything else out. I mean, I joke and say I have 17 assistants, but I do. We have house assistants, we have online assistants, we have in-person assistants, you name it, we have it, right? Because I don't do laundry, I don't walk my dog, I don't grocery shop, I don't do anything. I come out of my office, everything's done, right? And same in my business, like I don't respond to emails, I don't schedule anything, I don't do anything that I don't enjoy doing. Like, I love a good spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I love an end result of a spreadsheet. I like to joke and say, like, I'm a freak in the sheets, Excel sheets. And I have a mug that says I'm a freak in the sheets. So I love to look at numbers. I love to look at a bottom line. I hate filling it out. If I had to fill out an Excel sheet, it would never in this lifetime would ever get done. Right? But so I hire people who love data entry and have the patience, and they'll do it for me. And then we have a meeting, and then I look over the numbers.
It's pretty efficient, because then you know what you're like, your zone of genius, right? Like if you're focusing on everything else that needs to get done, which we all have a life, and in the US, it's not like when you're in other countries that you can have a maid. Like, it's almost granted sometimes that you have help in the house and things like that. In the US, it feels like we have to do almost everything.
Yeah, no.
And as
You're like, I don't want that very fast.
well, I wouldn't blame you. I mean, laundry and cooking is not,
No,
something I would like.
I mean, I've done laundry in Europe. You probably saw that. And I think you saw that on my social media. Because it's so expensive, like in 5-6 stars per towels, right? It's like they charge $7 on underwear. There's 4 of us. They've been in Europe all summer. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I literally ran one of the numbers, and it was $1,600 for laundry. And I'm like, we are not in a million years would I. It's not because I can't. You can cut the check a million times over, but I just not willing to.
Yeah.
So we have done laundry and they self laundromats, and I would take the difference, which is like, it was like $60 to do the laundry. So I would take the difference, invest into Bitcoin or something that will actually make me money. I'm not spending $1,600 on laundry.
Yeah, because one thing is making the money, and one thing is like wasting it, right? Like, there's the mindfulness of being frugal.
Try frugal for that, right? Yes. I am not. But at the same time, people were like, well, that's half an hour of your income. Not even, because, $2,400 is my hourly rate now. But sometimes it's just out of principle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's out of principle, then I am not. Because it took us more than half an hour, right? It took us probably 3 hours to do the laundry. But in the same time, it's just principle. I'd rather save that and invest it into Bitcoin. That's how it's going to grow. And usually, a little note to self, if you're a work traveler, all of these self laundromats have a bar right next to us.
Are you serious? Well, let's optimize inside.
Yeah. So it's like we put everything in a washer and just went over to the bar, Dwayne and I, and hung out. Yeah. I actually had some of my coaching clients here in Barcelona. So I messaged them. I said, hey, I have 2 hours at this bar. Do you want to just come and hang out?
Yeah.
So they come, we little mastermind for a little bit. My laundry's getting done. Everybody's happy.
Yeah. No, I love that, because it's like 2 birds or 3 birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Because some people think that making money makes you like waste it. And being frugal and pretty mindful, I think, will be the word, right?
Yeah.
Because you can, but it's like,
I also believe you don't appreciate money, right? It will just leave you, right? And I don't waste money. I'm very frugal. I'm not a spender either. People say, oh, where's your dress from? I'm like, oh, Shein. Or, Marshalls.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Now, don't get me wrong, I have some very expensive things, but in the same time, I'm like, I just, I balance it out, and I respect money.
Yeah, that's very mindful. I mean, I've read so many articles and books about that, and the energy that comes with it. I mean, it's not about the money, it's about the energy of making it flow.
Yeah.
So
now, if I get to the point, or when, I should say, I would say if, because if means it's a 50-50 chance that it's going to happen. When means it's a matter of time. So when I make what I call crazy, stupid money, I'll pay $1,600 per laundry, but not there just yet. I will make millions now, not billions. So
That's awesome. So what's next for Gogo? Like what? I mean, like you've been very successful up to this point, and you have everything automated, which I think is a dream for many people in real estate. Like they're like, how do I do this? Once you figure it out, like what would be the next steps for you that you foresee in your future? Or maybe taking more time off or going to the space. I don't know. Like what's next for you?
So kind of two things, what we talked about Team Gogo, what I want to do with the agents. I want to do that the same thing now with entrepreneurs, because I felt like entrepreneurship comes with so many different things, right? And I think the biggest part was like, what do you do with the money after you make it? I feel like so many people don't make it. And then the ones who do make it, they again guard that information. So then I spent the last 5 years of figuring out, how to structure your companies, S corps versus LLCs versus sole proprietors versus, and then also how to hide your assets, because you don't want to get sued. If you work for a lifetime for something and one lawsuit will take everything that you have for a lifetime, right? So that means then you have to now hide your assets. How do you hide your assets? Where do you freaking Google that? You know what I mean? And then taxable income deduction. Like we moved from Michigan to Florida to save that state tax, right? We could have moved to Puerto Rico, but so as for my kids, yeah, my kids would not like to live on an island, and I don't want to do that to them.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted to keep them in their own culture and all that. So there's like all these different things. And then you learn about, okay, time savings, but then what does that actually look like, right? Like what are many chats of the world and the chat GPTs of the world, and how do you set it up and how does it work? And can somebody show me and push a button? So the other thing that I learned through my learning process, and I'm super lucky because I have a team of assistants who can help me set things up. But most people get stuck in the implementation process.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just learning. You learn it, then what? Like if you get stuck trying to set it up, who do you go to?
Yeah.
Right? So then I saw that again, there was a lack in the industry. So I created my Gogo community. So that's now my second baby. So the Team Gogo is the real estate related. The Gogo community is the entrepreneurial. So in here, I teach anything entrepreneurial, but not just me. Again, I invite all the people that I meet, like John Lee today. I invited him to come and speak. So my goal is now to take the next generation of entrepreneurs and help them achieve what I achieved in years, achieve it faster. And then the second part that I want to work on, and that's called the Go Get 'em community. If you guys want to check it out, the second part that I want to work on, I feel like in the early phase of my career, I kind of had to bulldoze through things. I had to have a very strong personality and a very strong will and a big mouth and all of the things to kind of just get me where I want to go. So people don't like chew you up and spit you out by noon, because that's just the industry. Mostly men, right? So if you go into any top producer mastermind or something, 85% of them are men, and there's 10-15% of women. And then so I kind of had to like be in my masculine side a lot, right? Because I just in order to play in the good old boys sandbox, so I had to be in my masculine side a lot. But I did achieve all of my goals, and now my goal is to reduce that, go back into my feminine, be wife, be mom, be friend, be go.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that that's what was necessary to do it. I wonder if there is another way, and I can't, because that's what I did.
Yeah.
I have what I have. So for the longest time, it almost became my personality. It was very hard to break. But now my goal is to be softer.
Oh, okay.
Be more of a woman, and help other women to do the same. So those are my two goals. Well, three goals. I love real estate, and I want to help as many agents who want to be successful in real estate as they can. So that's Team Gogo, my Gogo community for entrepreneurs, and then my soft side for the future. So those are my future goals.
I think a lot of people, women, will identify what you just said on the driven part and being very precise when it comes to your career. But then eventually you're like, well, I'm still working.
Yeah.
I can let my husband help me with certain things,
So I can still do it. I'm so still finish Monday to Wednesday. When I'm working, I'm very like, dude.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, when I'm done working until Monday again, I'm pretty good though. In the evening still. Yeah, I do believe that the entrepreneurship, you have to have a strong mind. I mean, it is a tough, you have to be a tough cookie. And that I feel like, I hate to say it, but I feel like that's your masculine side.
Yeah.
So you have to, be in that too. I just feel like for a while it kind of took over my whole life, and now I only want that in my business life.
Yeah.
And then I want to be me after hours and weekends.
I love it. What last question about agents and how you're surrounding all this, with your two personalities, kind of, right? Like where you need to be for work. No, because I mean, we're many, like I think the world expects us to be a certain way and only one thing, right?
Yeah.
But we're a sphere, we're a human being, we have different sides of us. It's not like just one thing. But for international, like you've grew so much in the US. And I think that's very, successful as you did. How are you planning to expand more international? What will you say to your agents that would be like, maybe we're looking to these countries because nobody's looking at them, or maybe we expand to here because we can create that content, or kind of duplicating the model that you did in the US and other countries. Have you been a little more curious about that and how, your team grows organically anyways, but
Yeah.
more intentionally in that way?
So now last week I got 2 agents from Peru.
Yes.
The week before I got an agent from Poland.
Nice.
So we are in Canada, we are in the United States, so we are very solid in the North America. We have some in Colombia. So we are growing, but it wasn't necessarily intentional, right? It was just like, the good news about social media marketing is that you don't know where your reach goes. Exactly. It can do full circle around the globe, right? And so I have never called an agent. So everyone who ever partnered with me, they are the one who's like, hey, Gogo, I want to come to EXP. I want you to be my sponsor or co-sponsor now. We have both. And so it wasn't intentional. Now I'm more like tagging locations. Now I'm more like, hey, if you're an agent in Italy, I want to talk to you, right? So it's, I'm still doing it the same way. It's just more intentional, meaning that I tag a location. I'll tag EXP International. I tag EXP Spain, EXP Italy, EXP UK, like, all of those different countries that we are in as we are traveling and visiting them. And so I would love to partner with anyone, right? I also feel like when we do real estate in a specific market, and this EXP is like the best example for it, because even just locally in the United States, when I was with Keller, when I was with Real Estate One, I would get training from the local top producer, who's my biggest competition, and it's in my own backyard. Meaning that I can't take a lead. We would have to find for the same lead.
Yeah.
Versus at EXP, I can get training from people from California. I can get training from people in Italy. Like, especially if you're getting training from somebody in a totally different market, they might be doing something that you never even thought of. And so now you can be the first one to bring it into your market, right? And you're not competing against other agents because they're not in your own backyard.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the EXP model is just amazing for that. So now with this co-sponsorship, I've been getting a lot of messages, and then thankfully I'm super honored. I did a lot of co-sponsorship with agents, because many of them they're actually Spanish speakers, and they're like, hey, I love my culture and I love our Spanish community and I'm a part of, but I want to get your trainings too.
Yeah.
Right. So now I can have both, and I can have the American training, I can have the Spanish training. So I got a lot of those. Also, I feel like the international, so these are Spanish speakers from the United States. But now I also feel like the international ones are like, hey, I'm really good. I'm already a top producer in Poland, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to see how you guys do it in the United States, so then I can implement whatever they see fit in their country. So that's how I've been able to sponsor agents in other countries, because they want that American mindset and that American training to bring to their organization. So anybody that's anywhere in my 7 generations down, they get full access to all of our trainings.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, because sometimes when you step out of the US and you go to other countries, at least it happened to me, that I feel like in the US, it's like I don't know anything. I mean, I know this much already, like, it's very competitive.
Yeah.
And when you go to a different country, like in my case was Mexico, I feel like many practices that we do in the US are not implemented. So I was like, I feel like a genius here. So I was like, well, really? You don't do this, or you don't do this way? So that, well, there's a lot of gap. Then as you're there spending the time, you don't know there is.
Yeah.
Some of you're like, well,
because you're learning from somebody who's doing the same thing you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That comes back to the same, sticking with the same city. And that's the opportunity of expanding globally that we have here. That it opens your mind. You're like, oh, I didn't know there were so many deficiencies in this market. Now you're
kill it. You will be the top producer in 3 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's something that many agents abroad don't understand, and they have the opportunity to reach out to and grab that, fresh, just created a new course or a new mastermind from your organization and in general from EXP, and having that, I will say leg up, compared to everybody else in Italy or Mexico or Colombia, that they don't know yet.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that it was so advanced over there, but it feels like I can see a lot of gaps that can be fulfilled, and hopefully more, within the organization together, create that content that will fill the gaps, or as you say, adapt it to the market locally, because in Poland might be different than the US, and there are certain things that don't apply.
Exactly.
But localizing it, and also bringing some knowledge of automation and things that,
Yeah. And also in his case, he's a guy, right? So he's like, my brain works like a guy, but you're a woman. So I also want you as my sponsor because you're a woman and your brain works differently. So I want to be able to like pick your brain and see how you see the world and how you create and all of that. So then he doesn't have to think it. He can just copy and paste.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the best part. And then, like you said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Just copy the wheel.
But then I just learn from them by speed.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Gogo. How can people find you online? And, like, we'll put your handles and everything on the bottom, but I want to make sure you mention it too.
Thank you so much. So my name is Gogo Bethke, and you can find me on gogobethke.com or Gogo's Real Estate, just about anywhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gogo. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Bye. Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. I hope today's episode has inspired you to explore new horizons in global real estate. Remember, the world is full of opportunities waiting to be discovered. And with the right insights, you can turn those opportunities into successful investments. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content possible. Don't forget to follow us in social media for more resources and updates. Until next time, my friends, this is Natalie Salas, encouraging you to think big, invest globally, and transform your real estate journey. Safe travels and happy investing.